on an annual basis when it comes to infrastructure costs, personnel costs, when it comes to information technology, infrastructure, keeping this city moving with this responsibility is easily a quarter of a billion dollars, $250 million minimum. It's probably closer to 500 million when we get honest with ourselves and we look at all the little tiny details, the big programs, the small programs, the upgrades, the licensing, the personnel, whether we're contracting out to maintain this program or we have in-house people doing so. We're probably closer to $500 million annually. That means if we spend $500 million this year and we're not as efficient as we should be, we're going to spend $500 million next year and the next.
Infrastructure is a likely target for consolidation. What we've looked at in terms of prioritizing is to look at the duplicative functions that are performed not only by ITA, but by the other city departments. And to give some examples for that, for the infrastructure services, and when I say infrastructure, that includes management of the servers that run the computer systems, the storage that holds the city data, as well as the operation of the city's network that allows the systems to communicate, along with some functions like help desk and desktop support. Those are functions that are performed redundantly by both departments and ITA, and there's definitely efficiencies that can be gained by having that be a centralized function. IT consolidation in a city as large as Los Angeles is a multi-year effort. So there's no flip of the switch to suddenly turn on more efficiency and cost savings and improve service as a result of doing consolidation in that fashion. It has to be done in a well thought out plan. Up to this point, ITA hasn't been involved in the discussions about setting up the tracking capabilities to support the medical marijuana data.
And an ordinance that we want to implement. It deals with the fee structure of those who would apply for a dispensary for medical marijuana. Yet we don't have the connectivity between building and safety, CAO, city clerk, finance department, because the system has to be put together. So we're on hold, so to speak, because we can't complete the ordinance without the fee, and we can't define the fee until we know what the system cost is to actually process that action, which is identifying the site, doing the collection, and then processing that within our system. So that's another arm that has to be created.
As you mentioned, we have very talented people in the city doing IT, both in departments and in ITA. The difficulty we're faced with is with a reduced workforce, as a result of attrition and layoffs and so forth. It's now come to the point where it's not so much even a cost savings initiative, it's really a survival technique.
But unfortunately, when we're all over the map or we don't have the proper minds involved, even when we think we've made progress and then we push that button on a new system and then it fails us, usually we're probably having to go somewhere back toward the drawing board, and we've wasted a lot of time. And unfortunately, in some cases, when it comes to information technology, we've wasted millions of dollars, and then we have to go backwards. We can't afford to do that. Item 3 and item 6 is actually critical, especially when you look at the budgeting constraints that we have in this city. It's time that we get our arms around these issues, that we try to be as efficient as possible, and we get these things done.
Okay.
So if we can put it for 3 weeks, that's fine, and then obviously everybody's gonna have to work harder and faster.
All right, what do we have a date certain? So 3 weeks from this Monday? From today, I guess? Well, to keep the
That
option
would be the 15th, but I believe council's in recess during that time.
That's during recess. It's an indicator to our stakeholders what needs to be done for the rest of this year. We want to get that done in 3 weeks.